What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, November the 30th, and The Wire is in season 9. Need I say anymore? We're going to talk football. We're missing Trey, but we'll get him next week. The Wire Sports Podcast. It starts right now.
I'm going in, it's first and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the code, true devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with I am Mike and the great Ali. I'm a run it back, believe me baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy Sosa, that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
Guys, we did it. And I messed this up at the start of season 8 because we took a break. Yeah. Things going on. But this is officially now the longest running first season 9 that H2G Radio's ever seen. The Wire Sports Podcast, our flagship show. Had a nice holiday break myself. How have you guys been doing?
Good, brother. Great. There was lots of games on Thanksgiving and Sunday, so we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, good week to come back. Lots of football, lots of disappointment. No, let's dive on in. For those of you that don't know, the Wire Sports Podcast, during football season, our new trend is to cover Hero of the Week of the NCAA Football League. And
I forgot about this.
This can be...
put a smile to my face.
He just got so happy. He gets to rub it in a little. So yeah, this can be player, this can be coach, this could be team. The guys and myself will go through ours. Please let us know in the comments and review section who your hero of the week is and why. Unless you wear blue and yellow and you got some nasty things to say, you can just stay out of the comments. It's fine. Whoever wants to get us kicked off for hero of the week.
Shit, it doesn't matter. I'll go. I'll give my hero of the week to Jim Harbaugh. Because during the week, I trashed Michigan to one of my co-workers. I said, oh, yeah, he's a Michigan fan. And I said this before I remembered he was a Michigan fan. I was just like, oh, yeah, Michigan, they about to get they beat whooped. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, man, they got no chance. Last year's fired them boys up. It's in Columbus. They're going to come out here and put it down on them. But got to give it to Jim Harbaugh. He's built a culture down there, and they're not going to just roll over for Ohio State anymore. And they showed it the last 2 years, so hats off to those guys.
Absolutely. I just got no comment. Richie?
No comment? I was going to let you go.
Okay. I mean, my hero of the week isn't from that game, but I will say, some excellent play calling, aside from multiple mistakes from Ohio State that definitely led to the loss. Some excellent, smart play calling. They were able to get the run game. They were able to get JJ throwing, which was the big thing, right? All bias aside, JJ can't rely on the run game totally in this game, and he spent the whole first half just working his arm and keeping up blow for blow with Ohio State. Then they just took off in the second half and ran away with it. So I agree. Richie. Do you want me to do my hero of the week first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, my hero of the week is actually, college football. The reason I love it so much is because it's not like the NFL so much where there's millions of dollars wrapped up in keeping somebody behind the starting quarterback. Every once in a while, the starting quarterback of the NFL goes down and the next guy comes up. But in Kansas State, Adrian Martinez is a lights-out quarterback. He is their guy. He went down against TCU, and Will Howard stepped up in that game alone his completion rating wasn't great, but he threw for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did get a pick. And ever since, this man has been leading the team. People know who Will Howard is now. They had their rivals Kansas State versus Kansas Jayhawks for Kansas University, the Battle of the Sunflowers or something like that. But they Will Howard walked them right into the Big 12 championship with a 47-27 win over Kansas University. He had another 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, not an interception on the day. Hero of the week goes to Will Howard. Way to go, stepping up behind a superstar, quite frankly. When you lose a guy like that, you never know what's going to happen. And he said, "This is my time." And now people know who the hell Will Howard is.
Nice.
I don't have a hero of the week. I'm actually disappointed, guys. And I mean it. I'm not trolling. I always joke, and I am a hater. That's not the joking. I've always been a hater of Ohio State. I feel like they're, for the recruitment classes they can get in and year out, they are one of the worst performing teams I've ever seen. When you look at the only people who have similar caliber NFL players is Alabama in the last 15 years, and that's it. Now, obviously, the difference is Alabama has won championships, 5, I believe, actually. 2 Ohio State's won in those 15, 20-year span. So my big issue has always been that. Now, why I don't have a hero of the week is I wanted them to win this game, not because I hate Michigan, but I wanted Ohio State fans to once again get in the playoffs, make excuses why they lost. And, now they're not even going to get the opportunity. And here's what bums me out too, is these Ohio State fans are going to be like, we deserve it. Michigan's a really tough team. They're number 2 in the nation. And it's just not going to happen. The only way this happens is if USC loses and Ohio State gets lucky that they choose to let them in. I still think, for instance, if LSU beats Georgia, just say for the sake of the argument that happens, then it'll be LSU, Georgia, Michigan, TCU most likely. And USC is going to get the pony. Ohio State has like 3% chance. I think they have no shot of the playoffs. So bums me out. Really bums me out. Never say never. I really hope that 3% somehow. I hope TCU craps the bed. I hope USC craps the bed. I hope Georgia loses to LSU. So there's a possibility maybe Ohio State can squeeze in there, but I just don't see it happening. So I don't have a hero of the week because I wanted Ohio State in the Final Four. I wanted them to make the playoffs. It didn't happen. I was shocked. They always beat Michigan, but Jim Harbaugh coached a hell of a game. I guess we've already talked about him, so. He's my anti-hero of the week because he absolutely outclassed Ryan Day on Saturday. Play calling aside, that's the better team. It's really that simple. You don't lose by, 20 something points and it was a bad, no, it's the better team. Disappointing. Yeah. I really expected them to be better than Michigan, but Michigan was better, at least this year. And it is what it is. I have no heroes. I have anti-heroes. Screw Jim Harbaugh. He ruined my Christmas. He ruined my Thanksgiving. I was not I love trolling the guys in our chat, but it really did bum me out because I love feasting on negative energy and nothing more than Ohio State fans losing the playoffs. This doesn't give me any joy. This is just sad because not everyone's salty, and that's no fun. It's no fun when everyone's salty. There's usually some little glimmer of hope. Oh man, well, we lost to Georgia and Georgia's going to win, the championship. So I don't feel so bad. I don't even get that. There's no way Michigan's winning the whole thing. I'm calling it now. So I'm bummed. I do not get to eat the Ohio State tears like I would normally like. So no heroes of the week. Screw this week.
Michigan could lose the Big Ten title game now. But Ohio State really has the better team, but once again, DJ Stroud refuses to run the ball.
When you don't play better, it doesn't matter if you're better. It's really that simple.
We would be remiss for those fans out there watching to mention they're without the number 1 receiver in college football right now, Jackson Smith and Jigba. They don't have Travion Henderson. They are missing some crucial pieces to their offense. But yeah, they blew the game. Maybe we could cover this at a different time. What the playoff structure is and was. It's moving to a 12-team tournament currently, but supposedly it's 8 now, and it's all very confusing. But yeah, Ohio State sitting there at 5, USC at 4, TCU, who is now going to have Kansas State coming in looking for an upset at 3, and then Michigan and Georgia. Obviously, Georgia, once again, looking to repeat their performance from last year. So let us know in the comments below what you think hero of the week. If you got something to say about the game that ended up being the blowout, let us know. We got a lot of NFL to talk about, so we got to keep it moving. Let's go right over to, a couple weeks ago, people might have said Super Bowl favorites. Buffalo Bills came in and squeezed out a win over the Lions on Thursday, Thanksgiving, tradition for the Lions to play. Bills got this one 28-25. You guys want to pass, play, or one shot?
We can one shot.
All right. Whoever wants to start us off.
I'll one shot it. This Buffalo Bills team is still good. I'm not saying they're not, but they definitely have weaknesses. This is definitely like the first 4 weeks we're just like, man, and again, it's always not reactionary, but just they look so far ahead of the pack. And they're kind of struggling right now. And again, Detroit's one of those teams where it's like, Detroit is having a feel-good season. Their offense was clicking. Then they were struggling. Now they're starting to, get a little thing going again. But at the end of the day, the Buffalo Bills are supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying they're not, but they're supposed to be. And they barely beat the Lions, who's, quite frankly, trash for the most part. They can score, but they have no defense. So Buffalo's going to need... The good news is Von Miller didn't tear his ACL, I believe. So they're in good shape there. But Josh Allen has not been the man. He has not been playing like the first couple weeks of the season, the first 6. He's kind of playing like Tom Brady, if we're being honest. 60% throwing, like not great. So Buffalo's got a lot to work to do. They're still 8-3. Not like they're out. They're in, but this was disappointing.
Sahe?
Yeah. The Bills just got away with one, Lions just not playing up to their full potential. On the defensive end late in the game, they couldn't get it to overtime. How long is Von Miller out is what I want to know. That's going to be crucial for them coming down the stretch.
Yeah, I don't know right now. They haven't answered. They just said that it's no tears in his ligaments, which is what they were afraid of originally. So We don't know. All I know is this could be a big deal for sure.
Yeah, huge deal. Bring it on.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. We've got another Thanksgiving tradition, I should say. Cowboys, they took on the New York Giants, and they got their win 28-20 on Turkey Day. You guys want to pass, play, or one shot?
We can one shot.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
If you're good with that, okay. I gotta give a shout out to Micah Parsons, man. Last year we talked about him last year. He's a rookie. He's clearly leading in Defensive Player of the Year. The dude just is always doing stuff, like 2 sacks this game. Very impactful player, incredible player. The only thing I'll say for the Giants that disappointed me, because again, they were a gamey Giants, and we've already talked about their coach is probably Coach of the Year. It's almost locked at this point, and they play around their players. Saquon Barkley, he's been playing great all year. This was kind of a dud. He didn't get that many opportunities to run, but nonetheless, Saquon's been electric, and this was not one of those electric games, and the Giants desperately needed that. So,
yeah, the Giants started off strong. The Cowboys started off a little slow, and then they were able to get it together, especially with that defense. Like Richie was saying, Micah Parsons, he's just playing out of his mind, has been all year. And it's a beautiful thing to watch, and the Cowboys are a scary team to watch. But, what does Stephen A. Smith say? What can go wrong will go wrong. They're a disaster waiting to happen. So we'll just keep an eye on that. That's a great division.
Absolutely. All right, rolling right along. We have the New England Patriots and the Vikings, another matchup on Thanksgiving. And this was Vikings 33, Patriots 26. You guys want to pass, play, or one shot?
We can at least one shot it, I would say.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay, I'll start on this one. It was weird. Ramondre Stevenson only ran the ball like a couple times. I mean, he got a lot of receptions, but it was a strange game. It was a close game, and that goal line tight end catch, not catch. There's some drama with that. But having said that, this was a one of those games where, how do I want to say this? It's not like New England's bad. Great coaches, playing well, pretty good team. But the Vikings were what we were talking about. We're mostly saying fraudulent, and this not that it backs it up, But Kirk Cousins, who had an incredible game, I think he was like 31 of 39. Like, he was laser accurate, threw what he needed to throw. But it just, you shouldn't, if you're this good, theoretically, you shouldn't be this close to New England right now. So I was disappointed from that perspective, especially when like New England's been using Damian Harris and Stevenson for all these runs. And, you know, Mac Jones threw the ball 40 times and they almost won the game, which is not how, I'm not saying Mac can't do it, but that's not like that's not what's been happening for their wins. So the fact that they did go deviate and they were almost successful is kind of like, whoa, Vikings, you guys got to figure this stuff out, because this is not what I would call a Super Bowl contender in New England. So.
Yeah, they kind of, the Vikings, they're kind of reminding me of the Eagles right now. Very talented team, young team, getting by, getting good wins, playing some close games to teams that you probably think they shouldn't be close with right now. So, I mean, but they're winning games. They're going to be in the playoffs. Let's just see how that kind of style of like playing down to the level of your competition when the playoff comes works out for them. So we'll see. It's going to be a interesting year to end it off. Yeah, this was kind of, like you said, a weird game, but you kind of just felt like the Vikings are going to win this one, right?
Absolutely. Moving right along to Sunday, we had the Houston Texans and the Miami Dolphins. This one, the Dolphins walked away 30-15. You guys want to pass this one, play it, or one shot?
I mean, we could pass it for all I care. This is just, you know, it's the Houston Texans. They're the worst team in football.
Biggest hit of the year happened in that game, though. Oh, my God, if you've seen it.
I missed it. All right, sounds like we're passing. This next game is viral right now. Cincinnati and Tennessee. Cincinnati gets this one 20-16, ending it all off with Ted Karras. Maybe Richie, you can help me, because I looked up game stats and couldn't find any for him, so I'm not even 100% sure what he does for the Bengals. But it seems like it got a little boiling hot there. You guys want to pass, play, or one shot?
I mean, we can one shot it. I don't know if we need to play. I mean, they're two AFC teams, so I'm just going to keep going into the one shot right now. The two AFC teams, you know, this was a game where it didn't matter as much as people thought. Cincinnati needed the win more than Tennessee. Let's be clear here, because Cincinnati has a lot of tough opponents, and this was a tough opponent. But they were out Joe Mixon. They were out, you know, Chase? Jeez, wow. Jamar Chase, I'm losing my mind. They're out two weapons, so I didn't even expect them to win. The fact that they won, good for them. I'm not going to like hold my hat on it. It is what it is. The way the game ended, though, should have ended that way. It's really like I've been seeing a lot of like feedback and people complaining. You cannot touch the long snapper. It's really simple. And a lot of people are like, oh, I never knew that existed. It's because people don't touch the long snapper. You're taught not to touch the long snapper. Even when you play like Pee Wee, you don't do that. You just stay away, because the dude's neck, he's like bent down. He can't see you. He's looking, you know, between his freaking legs. You don't touch him. So it was a bonehead play. Quite frankly, I still don't think it truly would have made that big of a difference. Tannehill wasn't like lighting it up, and they would have had to drive all the way down the field to get a touchdown to tie. You know what I mean? Anyway, the game ended really weirdly. It was unfortunate because it was a close, good game overall, but you know, weird ending. It is what it is. It doesn't really affect the teams either way. Cincinnati just kind of needed it to really make sure they're close, you know, still in that like leading the playoff hunt wild card position. But I think if either team, you know, if they would have lost, it's not like they're out. So this was just a game. If they play each other in the playoffs, it's going to be a whole different game. It's that simple. So whatevs.
Sahe?
So I didn't get to see the end of this game. So something happened with a punt, and then the Bengals got a first down. Is that
field
what
goal?
happened?
No, what happened? Yeah, exactly. So they kicked a field goal. It went in, but the point, what people were mad about, to some Tennessee fans, not all, was that they ran over the long snapper. You know, like they literally pushed him down. You can't do that. So they shoved his ass down, and they're like, "Oh, well, you made the field goal. Who cares?" And it's like, well, it's like roughing the passer, roughing the kicker. It's the equivalent. Right. You just can't do it. So yes, they got a first down, like you said, and they could just kneel. The game was over. They kneeled it. But even if that didn't happen, theoretically, there's a field goal, and they still have to run down to tie the game. I'm not saying they couldn't have, but it was an egregious play. It's player safety. This guy could have easily hurt himself. That's why they enforced this so strongly. So.
And Ted Karras, was he the snap holder?
Yeah, he's a snapper.
Okay, because I looked. I tried to do my research like a good sportsman, and I couldn't find him. I'm like,
he's a long snapper.
Yeah, he let the fans have it after all of that. All right, so moving on right along, we had the Panthers and the Broncos. Carolina got this one 23-10. We had some animosity on the sidelines between players and Russell Wilson, just asking him what's cooking, because it's not you. You guys want to pass it, play it, or one shot?
We can play it.
We can play it. Why not? Let's just make fun of them. Who cares? This is great. Sahe, you can start.
Yeah. Oh man, where to begin with this one? The Broncos are just so trash, and it starts with Russell Wilson. He's just like oblivious to like everything. Like he doesn't think he's playing bad. He like thinks he's still cooking, still thinks like people love him. He's like the butt of every joke right now. The whole let's ride thing is like people are having a field day with it, and he just keeps doing it. And it's just like, bro, like what's going on? It's like he really doesn't care. The only thing he cares about is his brand now. He's making all the money that he can make. If he doesn't win football games anymore, screw it. You know, they made him throw that pick at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl. He could have had two Super Bowl rings. Coach made a horrible call. Now he's like, screw the whole league. I'm going to get this money and act like I'm all for the team. I'm doing high knees on the freaking plane while everybody's trying to sleep and shit. Like, come on, man. Like, it's just funny to watch. I didn't see the confrontation though. I heard about it, like players like talking shit, like whatever to him, you know, and that's bad. You can't have that on your team on the sideline for the whole world to see. Maybe in the locker room, but come on, man. I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. Like, do they fire Russell Wilson? Like, sit him on the bench? It's kind of like Russell Westbrook with the Lakers last year. You know, it just looked like you were supposed to be like a good player. You used to be one of the greats of this league, and now you're just terrible. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to clarify, whether it's for appearance or not, Russell and I believe, defensive linebacker that got into it with him said that it was all out of love in the press conference afterwards. But it looked pretty feisty. I don't know. Richie, what do you think?
Well, again, here's what I'll say. It was defensive lineman. I just don't know who it was because it was a big boy. He ain't a linebacker. But anyways, he was walking to the sideline, and Russ said something. Probably like something encouraging, you know what I mean? Like, truthfully, it's not like he said he wasn't shit talking this defense. This is an all-time great defense, literally an all-time great defense. So, but he probably said something like, you know, like let's ride, you know, something stupid. And then this dude just turned and, you know, he was angry. And Russ is like, "Gosh, man, I'm sorry." You could see it on his face, like, well, I don't know what I did. So, yes, this is gonna be one of the greatest blunder. And it's funny too, because at the beginning of the summer, everyone was roasting the Seahawks, and you know, oh my God, you guys, you know, blah blah, you're gonna be trash, and they're cooking, and Russ isn't. And honestly, Denver, they'd have to win out to be 9-8. I think they're 3-8, so I think they have to win out. I really think they have to win out. So they're not getting the playoffs. So now it comes to, so here's the reality. And it's not like I don't want to talk about Carolina, but they're trash too. Their defense is good, but they're trash. Who cares about, you know, the running backs, whatever. They ran like 40 times. It was like 40-20 possession, Carolina to Denver. That's how bad Russ is playing. Anyways, what I do want to focus on real quick is they're going to have to fire the coach. I forgot his name. Used to be the Green Bay Packers offensive coordinator. Aaron Rodgers loved him. I think Hackett. I think they hired Hackett because they're hoping Aaron would come to Denver. I think that was like plan A. Hired Hackett. Hey, come on, Aaron. Aaron didn't want to come. Then they went for Russ. And don't get me wrong, when you look at it, like two historic quarterbacks, makes sense. You bring Russ in and he's terrible. Well, you're stuck with him for 5 years, guaranteed. like guaranteed. He's an albatross on your neck now because he's going to cost. This year was $45 million. This year, they're on the table and on the books for $200 million for over the next 5 years. So they have you can't sit this dude. You just can't. Like, it's too much money just sitting there. You know, like, this is, like what you said, a Russell Westbrook type thing, except it's worse. Because this is 5 years they're stuck with this dude. 5 years. And in football, as we all know, the quarterback kind of dictates everything. Like, Russ is trash right now. Well, this year he's playing pretty good. But he's not the reason they suck. They suck because they had no shooting and they're like a terrible team, period. Russ is, you know, if Russ isn't good, they can't be good. And that's the problem. Russ isn't good. So they're gonna have to fire Hackett because you can't get rid of Russ. You're stuck with this dude. So you got to get another coach. You got to change it up, and you got to hope this next guy can like Pete Carroll this and figure out how to get Russ at least serviceable. This season is over. This is embarrassing, and this might go down as this might be a Herschel Walker level trade when it's all said and done years from now. When we look back at this,
no.
Oh.
It could be. I mean, it really could be. It could be. They sold the farm just like
they really
the Herschel
did.
trade.
Yeah.
So this could be the same thing. We will have to see because Herschel was washed the moment he stepped over there, and it's true. Yeah. And this right now, Russ is looking the same way. And they got 3 first rounders, second round, all kind of player. This is looking bad for Denver. Denver is going to be screwed for years if they can't get a new coach and figure this out with Russ for next year. Because this season's over. This season's done.
All right. As always, we want to know what you think in the comments below. We got one more, then we'll head to a quick break and come back and finish off the NFL. The Jets and the Bears. Jets got this one 31-10. Is this one you guys want to pass, play, or one shot?
I think we should play this one. I want to play this one.
Let's do it.
One specific reason. I want to trash talk on Zach Wilson. Yo, Mike White came in, and this is my man's roasted the Bengals the only time he got to play, right? I mean, he went for 400 yards on the number 3 defense 2 years ago. So this dude can play. He's a baller. I don't know why he never got that opportunity. I'm not saying he's going to magically, make the Jets amazing, and I'm not overreaching here. But the point I'm trying to make is Zach Wilson has been playing like ass. I think we all know that. We can all agree. He finally got benched. It took way too long from him being a poor leader vocally and like within the press, let alone his actual play, that to bench him. And again, if he didn't suck, this is what's crazy about this kid seems to think like, oh, it's just like because of what he said. It's not what you said. It's because you suck. Dude, you can, sexually abuse 24 women and still get to play if you're good. It's really that simple. You just suck, dude. And here's the problem. Here's the real problem. Is that Mike White balling out. He throws a touchdown. He runs over there to Joe Flacco on the quarterback coach, and they're looking at the tablet. And Zach Wilson's over in the corner on the bench by himself, like just staring off into space. This kid doesn't get it. He's rattled. This is a reset. He's done for the year. Like, they need to figure it out, and maybe next year. I mean, this kid needs to, like, God, I don't want to be such an asshole, but I'm real. Like, he just has a face you want to punch, He's just this Mormon little piece of crap. Like, like he fucked his best friend's mom, guys. I'm sorry. I got to bring out all the drama. This kid is crazy. So watching this kid get drafted number 2, over a guy like Trey Lance, like over a guy like Justin Fields, because we were originally talking about Justin Fields potentially being a top 3. Now that's up for debate. We don't need to go back, but nobody can tell me Zach Wilson's better than Justin Fields or Trey Lance for that matter. Trey Lance didn't even play very well, but nobody can tell me that. This kid is a bust. I'm calling it now. This is Jamarcus Russell type stuff. This kid is not any good. I don't care about a reset or anything. He's going to be trash for life. For Chicago, it's whatever. Justin Fields is out. And Trevor Simeon's garbage. They're all garbage. All the quarterbacks suck over there. Fields has been playing pretty good. They didn't have a shot. David Montgomery is a garbage running back. Me and Sahe's talked about this over and over and over. They had no chance without Justin Fields. Even with Justin playing pretty damn well and then playing around him, they can't win. They're just scoring more. So this is a bad team in Chicago. This is a great team in the Jets. White's awesome. Good for him. He had a hell of a game. Zach Wilson, I hope you never get an opportunity to start in this league again. You suck. And I'm done.
And of course, Zach Wilson's welcome to come on the Wire Sports Podcast to rebuttal.
Yeah, feel free. I'll say it to your face.
Yeah, this is why Justin Fields needs to be the MVP this year, right? Without him, they just look like complete dogs. All right. They're not explosive. They're not exciting to watch. And they just got blew out by a team that started some random guy and the big Mike White. He had a big game a couple years ago, like Richie said, against the Bengals. He came out and just ripped to shreds the Bears defense. They traded everybody, so they just don't have any hope without Justin Fields. That's why he's the MVP, even though they've got a bad record. But whenever that kid is playing, they've got a chance to win. But on the point to Zach Wilson, I knew that coming out of college and coming out of draft. I wouldn't draft Zach Wilson. Now on Madden, his rookie year, he was pretty good. I was playing with Zach Wilson because he was overhyped at the time,
Right.
They rated him based on his potential, and that potential was pretty good. But you played at BYU, Brigham Young, like that's a Mormon. Is he Mormon?
Yeah, he is Mormon. No, I'm serious. He's dead serious. I'm not trash talking Mormons to clarify people, but yes, he is Mormon.
Yeah. So, yeah, they. I don't know. It just doesn't. It just doesn't add up how he was the starting quarterback of the Jets in the first place. But good on the Jets, man. They're 7-4. They look great. They're just a scrappy bunch. You just never know what you're going to get out of them. And they could be pushing for a playoff spot. The solid second year. They play good defense. They obviously got great receivers. What was it? Who had the Garrett Wilson 95 yards?
Yeah, Wilson.
2 touchdowns. That boy's a beast coming out of Ohio State. Guys go to the league out of Ohio State and put up big numbers. But that crazy play calling down there hinders their growth. I hope, Josh Rosen. That's what Zach Wilson is. That's my comparison. He's going to be on somebody's practice squad here in about 2 years. For sure.
Oh yeah, he'll get a second chance as like practice squad third stringer for that's the annoying thing, and this is why I was so mad. When you're a first round pick and you're white, you get a second chance no matter what, even if you don't deserve it. It is what it is. And like this kid, I hate to go on a rant, but this kid played like 1 year of college, didn't get to play the next year, and it was all off quote unquote tape of 1 year where he had a good year against scrubs. Like it is what it is. BYU, they don't play anybody. BYU always averages like 40 points per game. Like who gives a crap? There's never been a good quarter, like multiple times, like in the early 2000s, they try to have these BYU quarterbacks come out like they're going to do anything, and they're not. And this is no different. Trey Lance is a project just like Zach Wilson is, but Trey Lance actually, has some intangibles. Zach Wilson is just a white guy who's a quarterback. Like what else I was so disgusted. Like Kenny Pickett is a significantly better quarterback. There were so many quarterbacks, that I would rather take this year than like last year and Wilson. Like Kenny Pickett dropped. I was shocked he dropped so low, quite frankly. Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback. There's a lot of good quarterbacks this year that were so much better. Like Wilson should have been a second round pick. I'm not saying he's complete ass, but like he never deserved to be the second pick of last year. Absolutely absurd. Disgusting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, let us know what you think about those first games in the comments below while this commercial plays. But hey, pay attention to the commercial too. Go and hit a like, a subscribe button, something like that. The Wire Sports Podcast. We're at season 9, baby. We'll be right back after this.
Wow, Kenny Pickett, 14 for 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back and better than ever on the Wire Sports Podcast. That's not a catchphrase that we're going to use again.
No.
But yeah, check out all the shows here at H2G Radio. There has been a lull with True Crime for the Innocent Mind, but it's back. It's back, and you need to go check it out because this season is ridiculous. Here in just a couple episodes, we will be getting into the Ted Bundy story, and that's not one you're going to want to miss. If you're into true crime, go check that show out. Of course, we got Free Mess on Fridays. That's just the place to be. I just get over there. Sahe, tell, get over there.
Yeah, it's like the perfect place if you just want to just hear some absolute, just random, amazing conversations. It's like literally the best show out.
Tied with the wire. All right.
I was waiting to see
it got tense in here. No, not as tense as it was for. This wasn't a tense game, was it? We had Washington Commanders against the Atlanta Falcons. No Trey here to stand up for Atlanta. You guys, this game ended up Washington on top, 19-13. Do you want to pass it? Do you want to play it, or do you want a one shot?
I mean, I'll just one shot very, very, very briefly. Atlanta was rolling. Now they're 5-7. It's not like they're completely mathematically out of things, but they're just, Mariota's got to go. So that's what I'm going with. As far as the Commanders, they're 7-5 and they're last in their division. And we always were last year NFC lead. This year, pretty solid teams. So good job for Washington. And get rid of Mariota if you're Atlanta.
Tight.
Let's look at the strength of schedule for the NFC East. I still feel like they're the NFC least, but most lucky this year. They got really, really, really favorable schedules. So yeah, it is what it is. It came down to the wire. Again, just in NFC South fashion, another team shoots themselves in the foot and just can't get it done late. But like Richie said, they're not out of it. It's still really anybody's division, even at 4-8 with the Saints. They can still creep. Everybody's in it, just like everybody's in the NFC East,
All right. Moving on over to a game that I'm not sure I expected. The Browns and the Buccaneers. Browns got this one 23-17. We've heard in the previous weeks that he needs Giselle back. We've heard no Tom Brady slander, but ... Do you guys want to pass play or one shot the Browns and Buccaneers?
We can play it because I went to this game.
Oh, cool.
I went to this game. It was a great atmosphere. First Energy Stadium up in Cleveland. If you're a Browns fan, definitely go to one of the games. The fans are some of the most loyal fans in the entire NFL. They have no shot at making the playoffs this year, but the fans were just absolutely wild. When Nick Chubb scored the touchdown in overtime, the place went absolutely crazy. When Njoku scored that touchdown on 4th and 11, the place went absolutely nuts. It was just fun to be in there and just look around at all the Browns fans and be like, man, like, my Buccaneers used to be one of these teams. I used to get so excited for every win. It used to make or break my Sunday, and I was just kind of glad they won. I didn't want to get into a fight going out of there if my Bucs win. We had the game. We had it. Had them to 4th and 11. What's the quarter? Jacoby Brissett's back there. He's like trying to find somewhere to go with the ball. I think we're about to get him sacked. He launches it up to Njoku, and it's like in Madden. He just goes up one hand, comes down with it. They tie the game. Coach Bowles, this is like the big talk all day today, I guess, is we left the second half with all 3 timeouts on the last drive for the Bears. We just allowed them to drive all the way downfield, didn't call any timeouts, didn't prepare or set up Brady for a comeback. All we needed was 3 points. They tied the game up. We would have just needed 3 points. If we could at least had a minute and a half, you know what I'm saying? Even if with no timeouts, we could have done some things, but they left 32 seconds. After the first play, they didn't call a timeout. It was just horrible coaching all around, especially at the end of the game. It's a game the Buccaneers should and should have won. They should have won this game point blank. I'll just say that. But the only highlight is, still first place in the division. So there's that. It's just like, I feel like the winner of this division is going to be below 500, and it's going to be really sad. But you never know if, let's say Tom Brady and the Buccaneers do get into the playoffs in that division leader spot, because no team in the NFC South is making the wild card. Like the team last in the NFC East is 7-4. That's wild. There's like two divisions, NFC East and AFC North. Or AFC East, right?
East, AFC East.
Yeah.
It's the East teams, yeah.
Both. Oh, man. My headphones just died. I hope you guys can hear me still.
We can hear you fine. We're good. We got you.
They're not charging. I don't know why. I thought.
But they're not charging. But, it was just a great atmosphere. I love the game. But, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. We could have won that game. Coaching let us down, just like Ohio State. I knew once the Buckeyes lost, I knew the Buccaneers were going to lose too. Always how it works, man.
It is. Richie, your take, but also just a little sweet addition in here, because this was game 11. So Jacoby Brissett had a nice walk off the field, because something we talked about at the beginning of the season is kind of right, and specifically you said that, the Browns without Deshaun Watson could go, what was it? Did you call this exact? I think
I thought it would be either, I thought it was going to be 4-7 or 5-6 because of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. It didn't really work out that way because Kareem Hunt has been complaining, and so they've been relying on Chubb more. But they kind of weathered the storm, like we talked about at the beginning of the year. So that's what I was actually going to talk about for Cleveland, if you're a Cleveland fan. Although I will say, and I agree with Sahe here, the Cleveland fans are the most supportive fans in the world. You can sexually assault 23 people and they'll still defend you. They're fantastic. Anyways, they're going to have a great tune-up game for Deshaun. Now, he shouldn't, and I do mean this, he should not avoid this game against the Houston Texans. Obviously, the booing and everything, because it's at Houston, he'd be the biggest villain ever right there, let alone he is the biggest villain in the NFL. Having said that, he shouldn't skip this tune-up game, because after that, they got to play the Bengals and the Ravens, right? So those are important games. They're 4-7. They're not completely out of it, because honestly, the Ravens can't hold a lead and they're screwing up. Now, we've all talked about all year that Baltimore, by de facto right now, is the best team, right? And we talked about with Deshaun Watson that Cleveland is theoretically better and will be better next year, kind of thing. That's what we've been, mostly I think the guys, we've kind of been on the same page with that. And that clearly this year right now, Baltimore, especially how hot they were starting and how well they were playing, they look like the best team. And last year they're injured and still did well. Having said that, this is important. They're 4-7. They're not out of this division. Cincinnati is more out of it, so to speak, than Cleveland, because Cincinnati is, I think, 1-4 in their own division. So they're not winning the division. They're going to have to get enough wins in the wild card. Whereas Cleveland is actually doing well in the division. So theoretically, if they can hit Cincinnati here, like, tune-up game, beat Houston, find a way to beat Cincinnati on, Deshaun's second weekend, and then find a way to beat Baltimore, which again, Cincinnati, like, I'd say right now, Cincinnati's looking a little better than Baltimore. The point is both of them could easily be beaten by this team if Deshaun's even like 60% of what Deshaun Watson's capable of. Amari Cooper's playing great. And if they just run the damn ball with Nick Chubb, which they haven't been doing except the last couple of weeks, if you give him 20 carries, you can win this game without Deshaun Watson, just from Nick Chubb and this defense. So they really need to make him play this Houston game. You got to make him do it. You got to let him get all the garbage throws and all the really out of sync things that are going to happen and get through the growing pains with this Texans game, because they're so bad. even his bad play will be fine. Hopefully it'll be good enough to play Cincinnati and Baltimore, because they beat those 3 in a row. They're going to be first in the division just like that. So this is kind of crazy that this could kind of happen, and that they did weather the storm as well as I was expecting. But having said that, it really comes down to Deshaun hasn't played in almost 2 years. What is this guy going to look like? We don't know. So this Houston game is going to be very curious. But if you're a Cleveland fan, you're excited. You're 4-7, and I know that sounds weird to say it like that. You're 4-7, but you could easily get a path to being 7-7 and first in your division just like that. You got a top 3 quarterback coming back. You know, this is where you wanted to be. This is the best you could hope for. Jacoby played great, all things considered. Even again, beat Cincinnati, beat the Steelers. You know, all these teams. They barely lost to Baltimore by 3 points. You know, this is a team that could very well be first in the FC North. I didn't anticipate that part, but wow. You know, if you're Cleveland, you're very excited.
I just, when you guys talk about the loyal fans, if you haven't seen it, there's an old viral YouTube video of a fan yelling at the stadium. The Factory of Sadness, I'll see you Sunday video. It's just classic. I couldn't cue it up in time. But,
in all seriousness, Cleveland does have great fans. I'm just having fun with Deshaun there.
Yeah.
Cleveland fans, you're great. We love you.
And sometimes
the dog pound.
The dog pound. Speaking of Baltimore, they had a run-in with Jacksonville, and Jacksonville came out on top. This game finished 28-27. You guys
stole that game.
You want to pass play or one shot?
No, I want to play it because Lamar Jackson's tweet just cracks me up, dude. Oh my god, that brother needs to stay off Twitter. He needs to get an agent right now. He needs a PR guy. He needs to shut the fuck up so he can get his money. I don't even remember the exact thing because he deleted the tweet, but it was based. There's a bunch of people hating on him after the game, which I'm not going to sit here and pick apart Lamar Jackson. I think he's a boss. We've talked about this. This dude gets bumps out there and he makes magic happen even with nobody as wide receiver. The only decent guy he ever got, they already traded away. And I don't even think he was very good, and he was Hollywood. Dude couldn't catch anything. Like bounced out of his hands over and over and over. But what happened and why I was laughing so much is after Jacksonville did a 2-point conversion and stole the game, literally, right? That's what happened. And go for Jacksonville. Why not? You know, you have a losing season. Go for a win. Who gives it? Like, why are you going to tie? Probably lose in overtime. Just either win or lose right there. Put it in your hands. They pulled it off. Good for them. Trevor Lawrence has been playing great, actually. But the focus on Baltimore and what happened with Lamar Jackson that cracked me up. I don't remember the exact tweet, but basically it was like, all you guys are hating. Shut the blank up. And something about like dick eating. And so then like, if you know Jamison Hensley, because I'm an AFC North guy, so Jamison Hensley has been a beat writer for Baltimore, and he used to be a Cincinnati one. So Cincinnati to Baltimore. And so Jamison Hensley was kind of like, hey, like, kind of doing that provocative, like that's kind of anti-gay. And then Lamar Jackson was like, blah, I'm not anti-gay, blah, blah, blah. And so like a lot of people have been joking, like, yeah, anybody can eat a dick. It doesn't have to be a gay guy. Twitter has been amazing. Lamar Jackson deleted the tweet. John Harbaugh talked to him. Obviously it's a lesson learned. He's a young man. And at that age, I know I said that kind of stuff. So I'm not judging him. But, in this day and age, you just don't tweet. Like you just lost a game that you basically had stolen from you. Your emotions are high. Just stay off Twitter, guys. To all these pro athletes, not just like NFL players. These pro athletes need to just stay off Twitter. It's very toxic. Like that's not Lamar Jackson. I agree. They all said it's out of character, yada, yada, yada. We all agree with that. It was just funny because he just got, it's just like when you're playing Call of Duty and that 13-year-old is calling you the F word, which is obviously, I'm not going to say that slur. And you just get tired of it. You just like, you know what? Bleep, bleep, bleep. You just get so mad. That was that moment for Lamar Jackson. Stay off Twitter, man. But I thought it was hilarious. Oh my goodness. He's not anti-gay. Leave the guy alone. It was just really over the top. Because again, he just said like, guys who eat it. Like, why would you say that? I don't understand.
He rage quit. That's what it sounds like.
He rage quit. He literally rage quit. I'll try to find the tweet while I give Sahe the floor because it was just so stupid but funny to me. Oh my god.
Oh, hold on.
Oh. Sahe's live down on the field. We're trying to get over to Sahe.
Yeah. I thought my headphone cut out but both of you were muted. I thought you were going to say something. I'll say this though. Lamar Jackson did everything he really could to win this game. 2 minutes left. They score a touchdown. You're playing Jacksonville. You're supposed to be leading your division. You're supposed to take control right here, right? But your defense lets you down. You can't let Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars go down and score a touchdown in the final 2 minutes. And on top of that, get a 2-point conversion. Lamar passed for almost 300 yards, no interceptions, ran for almost 100 yards. And people hating on him for that. Yeah, they can go eat it. You know, not sure. I'm just playing. But that's hilarious that went down on Twitter. I'm not always on Twitter like catching like whatever's going down, but it's always something hilarious going on in the comment section and the retweets. Like, come on. You could definitely, as a famous person, star athlete, contract year, like Richie's right. You got to stay off of that. It's just one of those things. Zay Jones went off 145 yards. I believe he scored the winning touchdown. What would be the winning touchdown?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just it was Marvin Jones. But come on. That's just a win that you can't have. And that's not championship football. To lose games like that. They've lost so many games in the fourth quarter that they were up. Defense just letting them down over and over. And who's to blame for that? Is it Jim Harbaugh? I feel like Lamar Jackson is such a superstar and talent. Like Jim Harbaugh is never on the hot seat, you know? Because who's the defensive coordinator over there? I don't even know.
I don't know, to be honest. I got nothing.
Yeah, and Jim Harbaugh's got to do something about that defense. And I hate that it's always on the shoulders of Lamar whenever they lose. Mm-hmm. First, they're not paying him his money, and then when they lose, they gotta. It's just sad, man. It's just sad. Hopefully he finds him a new home after this year because he's wasting his years in Baltimore.
I agree with that. He's wasting his years in Baltimore. No bias as a Bengal fan. But here's a tweet and here's the Lamar tweet. The tweet that set him off was, when someone is asking for over $250 million guaranteed, like Lamar Jackson games like this, should not come to Justin Tucker. So let Lamar walk and spend that money on a well-rounded team. So that's what somebody said. And then Lamar said, boy, STFU, y'all be capping too much on this app. Motherfucker never smelt a football field, never did shit, but eat dick. That's what he put on. So again, I think it's absolutely reaching to imply this is like, you know, anti-LGBTQ plus. So, you know, it's not. It's just like really weird shit talk. It's a very strange thing to say. But I understand his frustration. Please, boy, stay off Twitter. You deserve 250 plus anywhere, but just stay off Twitter, man.
Yeah, right. Justin Tucker though with the 67-yard attempt, and he came a couple yards away from it. You know,
so close.
What's as long as 66, right?
As long as it is 66, yeah.
He was about a yard off. Just about 1 yard away. That was close. I'm just glad that this game happened for Harbaugh's sake. You know, I'm glad that both of these games happened after Thanksgiving, so he didn't have to deal with the brotherly bullshit at the dinner table.
No, sure.
Well, we beat our rivals. What's going on? All right. So now we're moving on over to the Las Vegas Raiders, who beat the Seattle Seahawks 40-34. You guys want a pass, play, or one shot?
I'll at least one shot.
I'm down with that.
Sure
Go ahead.
Okay, so they needed this win. I still think they're dead in water. Josh Jacobs, screw you. He's on my fantasy team. He's been playing pedestrian. You know, he's leading the league in rushing now after 300 all-purpose yards and scored 45 points when he's been averaging 15. So, you know what? You had a great day, dude, but stop being a bum. Maybe play like that all the time. This is honestly, in all seriousness, though, this guy is super talented. I was terrified in the playoff game. To be honest, I was more scared of the Oakland Raiders than when I was watching the Chiefs and everyone else. Because Josh Jacobs just ran over the Bengals defenders over and over and over. That dude is a monster. He reminds me of like Brandon Jacobs, to be honest, but more athletic. And you know, he had a coming out party, and you know, this was a big game for them, especially after all the negative stuff going in the locker room that Derek Carr has been alluding to, and I think a lot of the players aren't buying into McDaniels. So this was huge. They needed it, and good one by the Raiders. I was surprised Seattle lost this, but you know, kudos to the Raiders.
Yeah, is Darren Waller still hurt? Yeah, he's still hurt.
Yeah, he's still hurt.
Yeah. Both of these teams are like super similar. You just never know what you're going to get out of them each week. Seattle's been able to pull through with more wins than the Raiders have through the course of the season, but I see them as similar teams. Geno Smith's what do they call him? God dang it. I should have this right at the tip of my tongue, but a journeyman, right? He's been around the league. He's a veteran. He's a great leader in the locker room. But he's not going to be able to sustain you all year. And we're seeing that the mistakes are coming, even though he only threw one pick, but that's enough to give the game away. Even though Derek Carr threw more, but Derek Carr also threw one more touchdown. He's like a Jameis Winston style guy, right? He's not afraid to throw the ball in there and take chances and put it all out on the line. He's a scrappy kind of guy. Roll out. The Raiders, though, I just felt like we were going to get a better version of this team this year, especially with Davante Adams going out there, them being old college roommates. But you never know. Maybe Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay and goes down to Las Vegas to reunite with Davante Adams next year. And they just kind of work this plan out the whole time, and they get Derek Carr out of there and he goes somewhere else. You never know. Crazy things happen in the offseason, so that's what they're looking forward to. The Seahawks, I think they peaked. I think it's going to be.
Yep, your mic. Oh, I think we lost Sahe for a little bit there.
Oh, no. I'd say Aaron Rodgers needs to go on down to Fox and take that offer, or whoever gave it. It was NBC.
It was NBC, I think.
Yeah.
Never knowing what he's capable of, they offered him that. That's the thing. And honestly, I'd say about the same about Sean McVay. We've been talking about how good of a coach he is, and they are offering him like $20 million a year. I mean, you know, look what the Rams aren't looking too hot. He should have took that money, man. $20 million a year.
Absolutely.
And that was Fox for Sean McVay.
Oh yeah. Well, Sahe is still frozen. We're gonna go right on to the next game. Hopefully, we get him back here pretty quick. He's back in action.
Like he never left.
Can you hear us? He's live in.
All right, he's still handling himself.
Yeah.
Why don't we move on to the next game and get him prepared?
Yeah, let's tee it up while Sahe's figuring that out. There we have the Chargers and the Cardinals. My glasses are smudged. Another game that came down to 1 point. The Chargers got this one over the Cardinals, 25-24. You guys want to pass this one, play it, or one shot?
Well, let's at least one shot it in the meantime.
Yeah.
So I'll start off with this. This is, oh my God, we're gonna have two head coaches fired. I can't remember his name. What is it? Kingsbury? I don't remember. I can't remember the Arizona Cardinals head coach. So if you can look that up in a minute, Justin, I'm spacing on his name. This boy about to get fired. The only time I'll talk about is the end of the game. The very last play call, They have like people have been kind of roasting Kyler Murray, and I'm like, what did you expect? And let me explain. 4 seconds left. They have one timeout. He goes back. He goes, doesn't have his first option, and he just sits there and waits. And what happened is it was an in route and then a dig. So he only had one go. So one guy going, Hail Mary style. And then what I think they were trying to do is get like a cheeky 10 to 20 yard down the middle thing. But it was the first look wasn't available. And so then Kyler, he wasn't just going to chuck it for the sake of chucking. The game was over. So he kind of threw something, hoping they'd catch it and do like, a little reverse, clever BS thing. It was a Cliff Kingsbury, I think is the guy's name. Anyways, this dude going to get fired. That is a stupid play call. 4 seconds. This reminds me of the Cowboys when they did that quarterback draw and ran out of time to spike the ball. It's the same kind of thing, just a poor understanding and management of game clock. Like they had no time left. You got to draw up something. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You got Kyler Murray. You got to go for it. And the previous year, they did that. They did a Hail Mary where Nuck caught it on 3 guys, right? Like, go for that play. This play made no sense. I blame this solely on the coaching. This Arizona team is by far way more sorry than we anticipated. I think they're 4-8 or something like that. It's not going well. And this was a weird game. Super close, but weird game. As far as the Chargers go, Justin Herbert, man, kind of been disappointing. This team is not as good as we thought they were, and they're pretty bad too. So, shocked.
All right. Sahe is still working on getting that technical difficulties. Sahe, can you hear us out there? Oh, he's connecting now. Can you hear us?
Do we have him back?
I don't think he can hear us just yet. Let's go ahead and hit up one more game here. We don't want to go through all of these without Sahe. We got the Chiefs and the Rams, I think is the next one to talk about, just because, Richie, we're talking about threats in the league. Bills, big talk of Super Bowl. We really don't hear, I talk, outside of this, I talk sports with people, and we don't hear about, and I'm in Kansas City, Chiefs being a contender, but they're just solid across the board. They got this one 26-10. We've talked about the Rams Super Bowl hangover. Now Stafford's out. What do you make of this game?
Here's what I make of this game. We're not going to talk about the Rams. There's no point in discussing them. Cooper Kupp's out, Stafford's out, Aaron Donald's out. Like, this team is done. Truthfully, they were pretty much done from the get-go anyway. So let's focus on Kansas City. And like you said, I think they're not getting the respect they deserve. I believe they're 9-2. They're looking sharp. This is a big game. They're playing Cincinnati. Jamar Chase is injured and coming back off of an injury. This is not, I think the Chiefs fans will want this to be like their revenge game, but you can't, if you're being logical, you can't treat it that way, right? Like, again, their best player has been injured for the last 5 weeks and has like had a broken hip and torn like ligament. Like, he's not going to be great in this game, but what you do need to do is just do what you've been doing, which is playing on all cylinders offensively. This is a team that's 9-2, and again, in my opinion, the clear favorite of the AFC for now. But it's not like they're just dominating. Like, for instance, they beat the Chargers by 3 points, which we just discussed. I was kind of disappointed. They barely beat the Chargers. They beat the Rams 26-10, but this was a very sorry Rams, like we're talking about. I don't even want to talk about it too much. They barely beat the Titans, which is fine. Titans are the second best AFC team behind them, in my opinion. But I just haven't seen many games where I was just like blown away, where like, oh my God, they're ready to go. But what I will say is this: Tyreek Hill leaves. Everyone's worried. Oh, Tyreek's such a big part. And Tyreek Hill's been successful. 1 yard separates him and Justin Jefferson for first receiving yards. Fantastic wide receiver. The Chiefs don't care. They could grab any scrub off of the field and make them work. In this system, Andy Reid is a genius. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. This offense is firing on all cylinders. They have arguably the best defensive tackle in football. We'll talk about that down the road. We don't need to talk about it right now. But this is a great team. This is a team that's weirdly enough not getting enough respect. Every year, Chiefs, and they lose to the Bengals because of second half miscoaching, and then everyone acts like now they don't want to talk about them again. This is still the favorite in the AFC, by far. Then Tennessee, then it's pick your poison, right? Is it going to be an AFC North team? Maybe, but realistically, it's the Chiefs season again. Once we get into the playoffs, 8 games down the road, we'll have a better look because those AFC North teams, it's going to be questionable. Will it be Baltimore? Will it be Cleveland? Will it be Cincinnati? Because some of those teams match up very well with them. And we're about to see one of those games this upcoming week. But this Chiefs team has been underrated. They're 9-2, and people be acting like, they're not dominating. And it's because Buffalo had such a great early season. Everyone is saying Buffalo over Kansas City. And Buffalo's still in it, but I still believe the Tennessee Titans are a bigger threat just because of Vrabel's coaching and consistency. This is, like I said, coach of the year last year. Everyone was blasting me when I said he's top 3 coach. I still think he's top 3 coach. Hell, he's still arguably the best coach in the league. This dude knows what to do, although apparently not with special teams. And this is a tough team. I love Kansas City. I think they got what it takes to make it, as long as they don't have those second half blunders, right? They're a front running team that kind of runs in the second half most of the time. That's really what they kind of do. They take the lead, they go conservative when they need to. And this is a great team. Travis Kelce, my favorite white boy. He's the white boy. I love that boy. I think he's like 4th in receiving yards as a tight end. They're just making everything work. Juju's looking like his career is revitalized. Scantling or whatever from Green Bay is looking solid too. He's on my fantasy. I think they have like 4 wide receivers that have like 400 yards or more. So this is well-distributed tight end, but well-distributed team. They're firing on all cylinders. They're doing great. And the to me, perennial AFC favorite for now, a little over halfway through this season. So I want to let Sahe have the last 4 minutes because this man's been struggling to get back in.
Yeah, Sahe, we're talking Chiefs and why no one else is talking about them. What do you make of the Chiefs-Rams game or the lack of convo about the Chiefs in general?
Yeah, the Chiefs are a great team. They've got the best quarterback in the NFL. And when you got that guy that can really just move around, make something out of nothing, he's the one that's really cooking. He's been cooking all year. And they've got Travis Kelce and a bunch of almost number 1 receivers. Those guys are not true number 1s, but they're better than number 2s.
They're Kirkland brand.
Yeah, for sure. There's some Kirkland brand trail mix that is so fire.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're Kirkland brand, wanting a wide receiver one.
Right. It's probably not your first choice, but if you were like choice. The last thing and you just happen to have it, you'd be like, man, I never would have bought this, but now that I have it, like, this is amazing, and I'll do it again. But anyway, the Chiefs are going to be a team that's there at the end. That's just all there is to it. They win all the games they're supposed to. They got a style that's almost unbeatable. They're just, how do you stop them? They've got a solid running game, and they've got a quarterback that can make every throw, especially when healthy. He's mobile. He'll move. He's what CJ Stroud could be if CJ Stroud decided to move around. Maybe. I don't know. He probably can't be that good, but we're gonna see.
Okay, you retracted it. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying because CJ Stroud doesn't run at all, and you got to move around a little bit. But anyway, yeah, the Chiefs are who they are, and the Rams, Sean McVay just thought, maybe they're just starting over because they let Von Miller go. They're not serious on OBJ, the guys that got him there last year. And they're just a completely different team. So it's just sad to see their fall from grace. What's his face? From the Lions?
Matt Stafford?
Yeah, Matthew Stafford. He's just like, he's not, ever since he pushed that girl off the stage, he's just, his stocks went all the way down.
Same.
Right? Ain't the same.
All right. Well, glad to get you back there on that last take, Sahe. And thank you guys as always. I'm excited to be here in season 9 of the Wire Sports Podcast on H2G Radio. We're teeing up a big one for you in the comments over on YouTube. We want to hear you play the Packers and the Eagles. The Eagles got this one 40-33. What the hell's going on with Aaron Rodgers? Let us know. We'll get in there and argue with you a little bit and have some fun. You can find us all in the link tree. It's all in the description, all the shows. True Crime for the Innocent Mind. We got Free Mess on Fridays. We've got Actors Breakdown coming back soon. You can catch every episode of the Boss Dog Show and much more. You can see all of the Where We Came From, H2G podcast. We've got 8 seasons completely on YouTube and all of the audio platforms, as well as the Wire Sports Podcast going all the way back to the pandemic in 2020 when we had no idea how to do this thing. And now we're here rocking and rolling. We'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, live, laugh, love like it's your last. And hey, stay classy, would you? And I'm talking to you, Browns. Or no, not the Browns. Who was it that cussed?
Huh?
The Bengals. Karas.
Yeah, the Bengals.
Don't say the F word 42 times in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're Limp Bizkit?
Wow.